I have the pleasure to be able to speak with Brandon, the founder of Barbie NFT. We're here at the Future of Crypto event, and I think we're about to have a pretty interesting conversation about NFTs. You good with that?
I'm good with that. I'm ready.
So I think right now with NFTs, it's kind of been a crazy 2 years, and I'm sure you've seen that.
Yeah.
Obviously, 2021, a massive explosion. People were making crazy money to the point that mega businesses were getting into it, like household blue chip stocks. And now, not just because of NFTs, like I would never hate on the technology by any means, but I think just the stock market, the crypto market, a lot of it is kind of underwater right now. And my question for you, running a marketing agency that really is in the world of NFTs, what have you been seeing from the clients? Like, is there a big shift? Is the shift in like not as much popularity? Or are they looking at different types of NFTs? Are they trying to apply the technology to different aspects of life? Like, what is the major trend you're seeing now?
Yeah, great question. I think in 2021 and the first quarter of 2022, we saw a lot of cash grabs.
Yeah.
Right? Celebrities, sports players, some companies, there were a lot of cash grabs, unfortunately. I think that's just going to happen anytime something like what happened presents itself. And sure, you could say from a sort of macro zoomed out point of view that we're in a bit of a bear market right now for NFTs, among other things. But, they say bear market is for the builders. And what we're seeing, at my agency, Barbie NFT, we work with a lot of Web 2 brands that are now trying to onboard to Web 3, but do it the right way, which is great, because what we used to see is Web 2 brands that just wanted to release a 10K PFP project, get a bunch of money, and peace out, right? We're not seeing that anymore, which is awesome.
Okay.
But what we are seeing is big-time e-commerce brands that want to build their loyalty programs on top of Web3 and have the digital collectible component be a smaller component of a bigger picture and utilize the NFT tech that it brings to help, streamline their loyalty program. We're seeing that. We're seeing a variety of real estate companies tokenize their assets and allow that cash flow to pass through to its NFT holders, aka their investors, just in an on-chain way, because it does it faster, it's more scalable, it's cheaper, it's more secure, right? That's sort of the whole point of NFTs is to accomplish all those things. We're seeing one particular client of ours is DeLorean, the car company. So what they're doing, they have a new car that just came out. Well, it's coming out. It's called the Alpha 5. It's $175,000. The car looks amazing. It is super fast, super cool. It's got those awesome, doors and stuff, right? To reserve their car, just like Tesla does, you have to pay a fee up front. So there's this five grand. But what they decided to do is that $5,000, that's an NFT. So that NFT comes with a spot in the production line, but so, of course, there are some people that are going to buy that NFT because they want the car. Yeah. But there are other people that might buy it just from an investment perspective because, if they get a high spot in the production line, when it comes time when they're going to actually start delivering those cars, that 5K production slot that's, slot number 120 out of, 20,000 cars, that might be pretty valuable, right? If somebody just really wants the actual car. So they wanted to do it this way for that reason, and because now DeLorean can use all their NFT holders as a marketing channel. They can airdrop them free NFTs of other things with messaging and perks and all that to keep all their entire reservation list for their car, hot and excited for their vehicle. So that's what we're seeing. We're seeing actual utility now starting to come to the forefront.
I was just going to say that makes complete sense to me. I'm a little bit more in the background of stocks. I'm like, okay, what is the value here? So to me, that's the value. Like, someone in the world might find it valuable to be a little closer to the front of the line. I get that. But in the insanity of 2021, where, as you alluded to, there were clearly some cash grabs, did it ever make sense to you personally that pictures with no utility, digital art that, yes, like you can, from in terms of the internet and signature, like prove uniqueness, but behind that there was the utility in my mind, and I'm not going to completely bash on it because I see somewhat of the value. It was more of a social standing of people wanting other people to know that they spent X amount of money. It wasn't like that. There were very massively popular ones that didn't get you anything besides the world knowing you were rich or wealthy or lucky or whatever have you. Did that ever make sense to you? Do you think that type of NFT is now gone? What's the story on just like the social status NFTs?
Yeah, that's a good question. Okay, so the world is a lot more remote than it used to be and a lot more online than it used to be, even just a few years ago with the proliferation of COVID and remote work and then also social media. Okay, so it's a lot easier for everyone to see your profile picture, let's say, right? Number one. Number two, this flexing that you speak of with buying expensive NFTs for the sole purpose of just showing them off, which I guarantee you some people, that is why they bought them. I mean, isn't that what a lot of people do with art? Like, if you buy a Van Gogh and put it in your house, it might be because you love Van Gogh.
Yeah.
It also might be because you have a lot of money and you just want to flex when you have your friends over for a party and show them what you just bought. Same thing with the Michael Jordan rookie card.
Yeah.
What is the utility of that? What is the utility of a Van Gogh other than looking at it and looking at how much you like it, right?
Now, I would assume my thought process is wrong somewhere in this, but when I hear something like art, I understand maybe I don't see the value in it, but there is some sort of level of supply and demand. The supply is probably one end, there's X amount of demand, and that's how we get the price. But when we're talking about digital art that doesn't have any excess utility besides showing it off, I think the argument, and maybe I'm getting this wrong, but the supply side becomes a very tough financial discussion because, like, I could screenshot it, you can screenshot it, and I'm well aware that I'm not the owner, you're not the owner, like, I totally get that. But if it's just for the show-off purpose, like, let's say we're not talking about the real Van Gogh, but let's say you and I each have just like a picture of the Van Gogh. Like, it feels like on that almost, not using it appropriately, but almost like a layer 2 aspect to this opposed to like the real McCoy. Like,
yeah, I see what you're saying. I guess that I would stick with the analogy of if I printed out a copy of the Mona Lisa and put it on the wall in my house and invited my friends over to show them my Mona Lisa picture. And they're like, oh, did you buy that? Is that the real one? I'm like, well, it's not the real one. I just copied it. And they're like, okay, well, what is Brandon doing here? That's kind of weird, right? So that'd be akin to the same thing, right? If you screenshot and they're like, oh, do you own that ape? That's crazy. Those are whatever, $100,000. And then if you're like, well, no, actually just screenshot it. I just wanted to show you. Well, that's just kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
So, and I'm not trying to say, I think it's important to distinguish with any NFT project, all that really matters in this sort of art-related flex discussion is, do 10,000 people in the world care about it enough to buy it?
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Or 7,000.
And that's
whatever.
a fair question.
Yeah.
And I think that, unfortunately, people think that is all of NFTs. To me, that's an aspect of NFTs that I don't necessarily agree with, but to me, just the pure technology of a non-fungible token, it seems like it could truly upend the world of government documents, medical documents, real estate, copyright related to whatever, whether it's a movie, music, all that stuff. Like, to me, that's massively important.
Oh, yeah.
And like, what I don't get in the media, and well, no, I get it. It's because it's salacious of Justin Bieber buying something that's worth $1 million and now it's worth $60K. Like, that's a headline, and that's clickbait.
To be clear, he did overpay when he paid for $1 million. So.
I want that on record. He overpaid.
Well, it wasn't at the time even one that. That's not what the floor should have been. Anyway.
Yeah, and it was Justin Bieber, but I'm sure Tom Brady on that. And like, that's news because of who they are and it's headlines. And
but
that's
honestly,
media.
it gets clicks. Right?
And that's why. Yeah. And I think, unfortunately, it detracts from, like, in my opinion, the optimal use case of NFTs. Like, of people losing their social security, their passports, medical. I'm like, this is where NFTs should shine.
Yes.
But it's not as exciting. It's not as.
So what doesn't get clicks is, so my agency, our office is in Provo, Utah.
Okay.
What doesn't get clicks is the fact that Provo, Utah, the city of Provo, their marriage licenses are now NFTs.
Oh,
which is cool.
Right there, another great use case.
Awesome use case. It's not going to get very many clicks on any website of any kind, especially not CNBC, right? What also doesn't get clicks is, oh, here's a new commercial building that has, 76 tenants, and now each tenant, their monthly rent has been tokenized, and you can now have that cash flow if you own that NFT. That's awesome, and that's happening. We have a client that's doing that. That doesn't get clicks either.
Yeah.
But that's what NFTs are, I think, originally built for, And then, art and profile picture, apes, like I love Bored Apes and I love the Yuga Labs team and everything. That's sort of who initially latched on to NFTs and got it popular. And now it's starting, gaming and music is sort of the next like meta, the next, hype train, I guess you could say. But I think that is just going to continue to expand.
Gotcha. Now, when people come up to you and talk about NFTs, is there a particular, I guess, subfield of NFTs that you're particularly excited about, but people aren't talking about it, and it like blows your mind? You're like, how are people not noticing XYZ? I think this is the next big thing in the world of non-fungible tokens.
I do think real estate and high-end assets like vehicles, homes, warranties, that kind of thing, I think those are going to be massive. Loyalty programs for sure are going to be massive. Starbucks is doing their entire loyalty program, and they're known for having the largest loyalty program in the world. They're completely revamping it to be on Polygon as an NFT. So I think those are going to continue to be huge. There's a company based in New York actually called Rally Road. They're a cool investing app that lets you buy shares of sports cards or like the Declaration of Independence, like cool stuff like that. A Stegosaurus's skull, like they've got crazy stuff, right? Real assets. So they have this new project where you buy the NFT and now you own portions of those real world assets, and you can come to their like museum here in New York and see and show off like, hey, I own part of this Stegosaurus. So I think that's going to continue to become more of a thing, and I mean there's a ton. I'm pumped about everything, to be honest.
Just to wrap this all up, obviously this has been dominated by NFTs. What are your personal thoughts on what's going on with the metaverse? Not necessarily like Zuckerberg and Facebook and Meta, but I'm saying in general, conceptually, this like virtual reality. Do you think our world's going the way of Ready Player One? Do you like that? Do you think it's going to happen? Do you think it'll be used differently? Do NFTs have a place in there? Just in general, optimistic, pessimistic, where are you at?
I would say I'm somewhere in the middle of those two. I would say that one could say we've been in a metaverse for the last few years. Like, look at how much time the average person spends on social between TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Snap, Facebook. Like, it's a handful of hours a day.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, it's not the metaverse because you don't put on goggles, I guess, but you're online and all you're doing is talking to people digitally, right, for 4 hours a day. So I think we're in like Metaverse 1.0 right now. I think 2.0, the version with the goggles, the Ready Player One version, I think that's going to happen, yes. I don't think my mom and dad are going to do it. I don't personally think I'm going to do it for more than, a little bit maybe each day just because, yeah, it sounds cool, but I'm not. I don't know. I just don't maybe have the personality where that would want to appeal to me for multiple hours a day. But I think it will to a lot of people, especially the younger people that grow up. iPhone at age 10, Instagram at age 12, TikTok 13. All they know is the digital world. So why wouldn't they love it? Yeah. So I think it's going to be a big thing, and it's going to be weird. But I mean, the internet was weird when the internet started. That's just how these things go. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your thoughts. Thank you so much.
Yes, thanks for having me.